Hello community, welcome to A Cupful with myself, Tshegetso Mwepi. Hello beautiful people, thank you so much for joining me in a new week for a new episode of A Cupful. You are officially part of this community and I hope you make yourself at home because you are. A Cupful's main purpose is to help young people such as you and me navigate the in-betweens of life and take care of our well-being, or as I like to say, tend to our cups and to keep pouring into them in the healthiest ways possible, all the while working on healing, growing, learning, and ultimately thriving. Life is constantly happening in many ways, and if this space can give you even a little bit of affirmation, knowledge, wisdom, the strength to keep going, whatever you need in your current season really, and that which you can apply in your future seasons. Just ending up with a cup full of peace, happiness, contentment, wisdom, and lots of knowledge. And the cup could be you, the cup could be the things in your life that need to be tended to and taken care of, your well-being, your peace, your happiness. I guess it just boils down to you at the end of the day. So yes, we are here to make sure that we're all doing good and we're all building into ourselves and we're all just making sure that we are getting to a good place with ourselves and the important things and the important people in our lives. So in this week's episode, we're figuring out what to do when things just aren't working out. And before I get started, sorry about that, just a quick disclaimer. There might be a bit of an echo in today's episode because my recording environment is a lot different. I'm usually recording from the comfort of my bed, but I am not in my room in the comfort of my bed. I am recording from elsewhere, so there might be a bit of an echo and some noise. So don't get too distracted by that. Just focus on my amazing voice and the amazing topic I have in hand, the amazing message I'm trying to convey, the story I'm trying to tell here, okay? So like I said, we are figuring out what to do when things aren't working out, when life is seemingly not coming together, career plans are falling through, financially things aren't coming together. It's a rough period, and it just feels like it's one setback after the other. Like you've reached a dead end, and then you reach another one, and then you reach another one. And I know that it can be very confusing and frustrating and upsetting to find yourself going around in the same circle and just not being able to find solutions or not having anything to lean back on or to fall back on. And you know what the thing is, you also don't have any control over any of it. None of us do. Which I know that a lot of young people in their 20s, myself included, experience quite often. In the midst of it all, though, please don't forget that it isn't a bad life. It's just a very difficult season that will eventually come to an end. And sometimes we don't need to even put difficult in front of it. Okay, you know what? We're gonna call a thing a thing. We're not gonna do that. I was about to say don't call it difficult, just call it a season. Call it whatever kind of season it is for you. If it's difficult, if it's sad, if it's hard, call it what it is. We're calling a spade. But don't forget that it's just a difficult season. It's just a challenging season, and that it is not the rest of your life. It is not your destiny. It will eventually come to an end. And I know I'm not a psychic and I don't have all the answers, but nothing stays the same in life. Like nothing lasts forever also, and that's something very important that you must always remind yourself. Things change, and whilst they do change, life will also happen, which cannot be avoided. So you've just got to take it as it is. Things are changing, things are moving. You cannot stay in the same place, and to get to the next destination, there are sometimes bumps, there are hurdles, there's sunshine and roses, and there's hailstorms and flooding, and that's just how it is. That's just how it be. So today's episode and conversation are meant to be more of a remedy or even a guide, whichever way you want to look at it, when trying to navigate what feels like a personal vendetta that life has against you. I came up with this while preparing for this episode, this phrase, and it just sounded fitting for me because it has often felt like life has something against me and just really wants to put me through the depths of despair, like hell. Like every time I make an effort to do well, life throws me off. Now, however, I'm learning to understand that life is just happening. You know, I used to, whenever I'd have challenges or life was throwing me off, or like the season that I'm in now, if you listen to a couple of podcasts before this one, podcast episode rather, a couple of episodes before this one, you would have heard me say that I'm going through a big waiting season, and I've had to be patient in my waiting season, and that's been very, very difficult. And sometimes the waiting is the no's that I keep getting to the opportunities that I really want access to, or to the doors that I really want to have open for me. And it's just one no after the other. And I've often felt like life has a personal vendetta against me, but also just that nothing is coming together and like this is my destiny, which it isn't. And it's also very important to really not speak any ill into your life. It is not forever. It's just a season. It's just a moment. It's happening, but it will come to pass. So you need to remember that always. And also just remember, like I said, life is happening. It's happening. And sometimes it's really unfair. Sometimes life is happening in a very cruel way, but it is happening at the end of the day. And because of I can't avoid it and neither can you, we can at least find ways to navigate it and take care of ourselves in every single way possible. So what I am suggesting right now, what am I trying to get at? Let's get right into it. Number one, I'm suggesting that you ditch the control freak attitude. Whilst I was doing research, I came across a really interesting article that had a different perspective. And I think that this is a good approach. It's a good thing to look at trying. Just leaving this thing of wanting to control everything. Because at the end of the day, you can try your hardest, but sometimes things just still won't work out. And why might that be? Because outcomes do not only rely on you and your efforts, unfortunately. Sometimes they do. Like, you know, to smell good, you take a bath. For your teeth to be clean, you brush your teeth. To make sure your car doesn't get stuck in the middle of the highway, you're going to pour petrol. To make sure your car doesn't just, one day decide that it's not going to start on when you need to get to work. You need to make sure that it's serviced every time it needs to go in for a service, right? Those are things that you can control. Having food in your fridge, that's something you can control. But you are not able to control many other things. You can't control the weather. You cannot control something like whether you're going to get at the end of the day, in the finality of it all, you can't control whether you're going to get a raise or whether you're going to get a promotion. Yes, you can do everything that you possibly can to make sure that you at least contribute towards that, true, but that's something that you can't control. So you need to ditch wanting to be a control freak. This is for me as well. I want to control a lot of the career outcomes in my life, a lot of the financial outcomes in my life, and sometimes it's beyond my control. So if you are like me and you're trying to control the outcomes of your life, especially with things that you have no control over, please loosen the grip, sis. You gotta take a step back. Number two is just like put yourself in a position where you're thinking of how much things can change. You know, when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're just feeling like really down, you can't see ahead. I can't see that far ahead. But if you look at things a little bit differently and you say to yourself, you know what, this is now, next year won't be like this, or the year after that, or even 5 years from now, or even 10 years from now. If you're somebody that wants to travel the world and you don't want to ever get married, but you want to have a lifetime partner and you want to have successful businesses, think of yourself in that position. And I know it's very difficult to do when you're going through a rough time, but I think one of the best things we can do for ourselves when we're going through things is to try very hard not to internalize the things we're going through and really just try our best to see a better, beautiful, brighter future where these things that are happening now are not permanent, and they don't even factor into our lives at that point. Number 3 is see your obstacles as opportunities, as a platform to eventually thrive and eventually grow from whatever you're going through. So if you, this article, this life coach who speaks in the article that I found, said that viewing your challenges less as an obstacle to be overcome rather, and more of an opportunity to hone your ability to keep your focus on the things you desire, makes it much easier to break through into the hugely spectacular experience on the other side. So pretty much what he's saying is it's a big opportunity to learn and to make improvements to yourself, and just to make sure that you are putting yourself in a position where you're going to succeed and you're going to do amazing, and you're just going to keep the ball rolling, So get started on doing something like that. Number 4, separate yourself emotionally. This is very difficult. I'm going to say you should take this one with a pinch of salt. So, I know that when we are in situations and we are experiencing difficulties, and I'm speaking in general right now because I know I've shared with or have heard from a few people, even seen online when people speak about being in a specific position, it just feels like you cannot separate yourself emotionally because everything is super emotional. Everything also just feels very personal. But I guess if we can try putting our future outcomes in different places, or not look at everything exclusively, or not look at everything sitting in one basket, then we won't want to be so attached with the outcome of everything. Just, I want to say, not overthinking things. That's one way to say or separate yourself emotionally. Don't overthink anything. Don't think that because of a thing has gone this way now, then you're never going to be able to get to where you see yourself going. That's not true. This life coach says if you keep a degree of distance, it'll be easier to take things in stride. Now, hear me out. I love the work that life coaches do. And again, I think we should take some things with a pinch of salt. That's very, very important. But the most important thing for you to do here is to see what works for you as an individual. Don't overthink a thing, but also just don't beat yourself up when you do overthink something. Okay, just try keep a degree of distance. It's gonna be a little bit easier to take things in stride. Like you don't get a job, you didn't get a job. It doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't make you less qualified. Sometimes you are perfectly qualified, but the company just, they are not looking, you don't have those soft skills that they're looking for in their next employee. You know what I mean? Number 5 is start trying new things. Give that a chance as well. Being in a bad place can leave you feeling like very lost in this very sour sauce. There's almost nothing that can pull you out of those trenches other than yourself. And that's exactly how it is, Sometimes you can have every single thing around you, support, love, care, prospects of a great future, but you will sometimes you'll be in a really bad place. And one way to get yourself out of that funk is to try new things, get up off the couch, try acquiring a new skill through online learning, take a jog, take a walk every morning, try a different drink, something that's going to help lift your spirits, number 1, but also just give you some form of excitement, because you feel not excited, you feel uninspired, you just feel like you are out of luck. So look for something. You just never know. You absolutely 110% never know. Number 6 is be your own champion. Instead of waiting for someone to make you happy, or instead of waiting for someone to make you feel better, or to give you that dream job, or to fix you, be that person for yourself. Look for the things that drive you. Look for the things that ignite your soul, and push yourself in them. Get excited with yourself for achieving certain things. Be happy for yourself. That's so important. Give yourself an opportunity to try again as many times as you need to. Whether that's 7 days of the week, every morning at 7 o'clock you're trying again. Girl, that's exactly what you're doing, and nobody can say anything about it. It's your decision. You're doing it for yourself. No one can fight you or disagree with you. So remember to champion the things that you love and be your own champion. Number 7 is you need to make some changes. You need to declutter. You need to reorganize. You need to rearrange. Sometimes it can be a small change, sometimes it can be a big one, but it's a big motivating factor to make a couple of changes in your life. It has been for me anyways. Right now I'm finding waking up and working out to be such a good thing for me, and that's something else that I've changed. Instead of not being active, I am active. Instead of not doing the things that I've committed to doing, I do them now. I thoroughly enjoy how good it feels to be where I am right now. So if you were thinking of starting with exercises, this is the perfect opportunity. This is a sign. Number 8, definitely 100%, please stay away from negativity. Now, this is not easy because sometimes you are the negativity towards yourself. Debbie Downer, been there, done that. Sometimes I find myself slipping into that, and the best thing that I do when I'm slipping into that is I remind myself that it's not going to work. Because I know myself, if I get into a sleeve of negativity and I'm telling myself that this isn't working, you are falling behind, you are failing, why aren't you like your age mates? It affects me for a while, and then I can't focus on the things that I committed to focusing on. So because I know the effects that has on me, I fight with myself, not in a bad way, but I say, you know what, we're not doing this, we're getting out of this funk. You are going to get up, drink water, put on some workout clothes and work out. And again, that change I made, that small change of working out in the mornings makes me feel better. Like I feel less, down about stuff. Like I get the little things done. I'm looking after myself. I'm trying my best. And it's a big win for me. It's a big win considering that this has been a bit of a really tough year, a tough year all around. Emotionally, at some point physically, I was feeling very tired and fatigued, and I was just not in a good place, career-wise, financially. So it's just been tough, and I've had to adjust in a lot of different ways. But learning how to control or learning how to filter out the negativity has helped me. And I'm also learning to not be the negativity for myself. Number 9 is find inspiration from other people. Very important. Sometimes all you need to do is just remember how far your mom has come, or how far your sister has come, or how far your partner has come, how far your friend has come. And just use that as a form of inspiration, but also use that as a reminder that you are not done, that things might feel like they aren't moving and that it just isn't working out, but it's just a period of time in your life, and it will change and things will become better. The last one, which is number 10, take good care of yourself, treat yourself, spoil yourself. Just don't slide into a place where you are not taking care of yourself, where you are not drinking water, or if you enjoy working out, where you stop working out, where you're not active, where you don't take walks, where you're not interacting with your friends, where you've pretty much isolated yourself. So please don't isolate yourself. Don't put yourself in a corner and distance everyone from you. I always speak about community on this podcast. I believe in community more than I believe in anything else, really. Okay, I believe in a lot of things, but community is one of the things I believe in, which is what I'm pretty much trying to say. We need each other, point blank, period. We need each other in different ways. We need each other as friends. You need your partner, you need your family. We even need complete strangers. And because of we are a community, and because of we are not people that live in bubbles, and we are not isolated from one another, and we're not isolated from each other's problems, and we don't live in a world where we can say, oh no, that's not my problem, that's her problem. We need to behave and act accordingly. So don't push people away just because you're going through something very difficult. Don't lose your people because of it feels like you're losing yourself. And again, I know that when you are in a situation or you are in a position, I promise, it just feels like no one understands. But we have people around us, we have love around us, we have families and friends and partners in order for us to be able to feel safe and be able to rest and just, get to a place where we can see ourselves moving past a thing. That's why we have support and love in the form of community. So keep your people close, love up on your people, love up on yourself, and remember that it is not a bad life. It's just a really bad season that you're going to get out of, okay? Life is always happening, always changing, and often being unpredictable, and sometimes very turbulent. A lot of it is not something you're going to have control over, and you know what? You need to make peace with that. Some of it you will, and the best you can do is have a different approach, especially the parts that you do have control over. For example, what I spoke about throughout the episode, they aren't solutions, the points that I mentioned, the 10 points that I mentioned, but they are very helpful, suggestions that can be used to make things easier when they are hard. And I really hope you give them a go and they help. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode. We have reached the end of today's episode. Thank you for your continued support and love. Please do share this podcast as far and wide as you can. It is available on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. I plead that you also give it a 5-star rating. Please give it a 5-star rating. Please give A Cupful a 5-star rating. Because we both know you love it here and you enjoy the space. So please click on those 5 stars for my sake, for this podcast's sake, for your sake. You love it here. So, when you love something, you are going to appreciate it. Isn't that a thing? Isn't that the truth? It must be. It really must be. Because when I love a thing, I do appreciate it. And because you love A Cupful, give it 5 stars. Anyways, I really don't take for granted what this platform or what platforms such as podcasts give, and otherwise I wouldn't have been able to start this podcast, and I wouldn't be able to share the things that I'm able to share through A Cupful. It's a blessing and I am eternally grateful. Please do have a lovely week further. Rest when you need to, work when you need to, find a balance between the two, and don't forget that things are going to work out just as they are meant to. You are deserving of all the good things that you're experiencing in your life and the ones to come. We are also on Instagram. I don't want to forget this very important part. A Cupful is on Instagram and the handle is @A_Cupful. The comment sections are always open and so are the DMs for your very valued opinions, thoughts, and anything you might want to get off your chest concerning a specific topic. Look, you could talk about this week's topic, you can talk about last week's episode, you can talk about all other 12 episodes before last week's one. I don't have a problem. I love to share, I love to talk, I love to engage. So please don't be shy. 110%, don't be shy. Keep going hard for yourself, and don't forget to do the things that fill your cup up.